Hi, everyone. Welcome again to Enjoy English. I'm Bruce.
I'm Antony.
Today we have an environment article for you, an article about environment's influence on people and sometimes how to improve it or what to avoid. Well, today we have an unusual idea, or at least it's only recently been known that light pollution can be a source of stress.
我们今天要介绍的主题呢是环境的议题哦。你会看到我们讲的是这个英文的 title 是 Afraid of the Dark， 然后一个 question mark， 对不对？然后但是中文就破梗了，就告诉你说我们今天讲的主题是光害，光害知多少？原来光也可以变成是一种污染哦。所以在我们副标题里面，我们第一个就会看到一个很重要的字叫做 pollution。Light pollution 就是光污染。Can be a source of stress， 也可以是一种压力的来源。至于详情如何，我们赶快来看看今天的内容吧。
Afraid of the dark? There are many different kinds of pollution in our world. Pollution is the introduction of chemicals or substances that have a harmful effect on the environment.It is very common to hear about pollution in the air and water, but have you ever heard of light pollution? Light pollution is a man-made problem, and it has increased about 50% in the last 20 years. We all enjoy the convenience of electric lights. They make life safer and easier. However, the glow of bright lights in big cities has affected the health of people and animals around the world. Everyone has their own natural cycles of sleeping and waking. For many people, darkness is important to signal the body that it is time to relax and go to sleep. When there is too much light in the environment, the body produces less melatonin, which makes sleeping difficult.Being in a bright environment at night can also increase anxiety and stress. There are many animal species that are affected by our bright lights. Sea turtles and birds use the light of the moon to migrate, but with so much artificial light in the environment, they often get lost and
confused.This is day one, I should remind you. We've got 2 full days on this topic, so it's more important than usual. There are many different kinds of pollution in our world. I'll bet you've seen this word or heard it in English as well as Chinese 100,000 times by now, because it is a serious problem. Pollution affects us in many ways, all of them bad. It can hurt our health. It can destroy any good mood.It can get worse and worse, and it's hard to do anything about.
没错，老师刚刚提到一个很重要的字 affect。好，老师刚刚用到说 pollution affects our health。这个 affect 这个字的拼法是 A-F-F-E-C-T affect。动词指的是影响。这里我们第一段呢，我们看到第一句话，它就说了 There are many different kinds of pollution in our world。我们生活里头，或是这个世界上，有着各式各样不同的污染，它都是不断的摧残我们的身跟心。
Pollution is the introduction of chemicals or substances that have a harmful effect on the environment. All I have to say is air pollution, and you probably know what I mean if you live in a city. Of course there's going to be pollution, and that's not good for us. If there's traffic, that's one kind of pollution. If there's industry that by making things, by manufacturing things, they have to burn or use products that chemicals that, or other substances that get into the air or onto the land around the factory and so on. Pollution is a serious problem for everyone.
没错，所以这边的话就告诉你一些例子了。好，先跟你讲一下 pollution 的定义。Pollution is the introduction of chemicals or substances 好，他这边先讲到的是 chemicals， 老师刚刚也用到这个字 chemicals， 指的就是化学物质的意思。好，它这个字的话呢，加 s 的时候就变成名词，对不对？如果你把这 s 拿掉 chemical， 它可以是形容词，就是化学的。or substances 就是物质的意思。后面还在告诉你说，这些物质，这些化学物质怎么样呢？That have a harmful effect on the environment 是对环境有害的。你只要是那种引入了这种对环境有害的化学或是这种一般的物质的话，我们都可以称之为 pollution。它在讲的是 the definition of pollution.
It is very common to hear about pollution in the air and water, and we've mentioned both of those. But have you ever heard of light pollution?Now, if you never have, you might think, well, light pollution is better than heavy pollution, isn't it? But here, light does not mean just a little. Light is referring to like sunlight or lights from cameras.
所以这边的话，这个 light 不是指那种相对比较轻的，然后相对于 heavy 的那个 light， 这边的 light 只是光的意思。所以在这边告诉你说 ，It's very common to hear about pollution in the air and water。大家都一定有听过，可能空气啦、水啦所这种产生的这种污染嘛。But have you ever heard of light pollution？ 你有听说过光污染，也就是光害吗
？And we will answer that question for the rest of today's lesson and day 2, tomorrow's lesson as well. Until then, let's take a short break. Okay, let's take a look at our second paragraph. Light pollution is a man-made problem. So we are not talking about sunlight. We don't make sunlight, or moonlight for that matter.And light pollution, has increased or grown about 50% in the last 20 years. So there's half as much more light pollution now than 20 years ago. Let's see, I was 30 then, I think.
差不多。老师，你真的很敢讲哎。好 ，OK。所以这地方我们来看一下这一段哦。他是说了 ，light pollution is a man-made problem。这个事实上呢，不是那种类似那种天然的自然灾害哦，是人为所造成的问题。好。光污染是人为所造成的问题 ，and it has increased about 50% in the last 20 years。在过去这20年来，老师刚刚就开个玩笑说，那个时候我大概30岁吧。好，这个很敢讲啊，进入敢讲模式。啊，这边的话，这个地方提到说 has increased about 50% in the last 20 years， 就是代表在过往的20年，光害的问题可能增加了50%，程度非常非常惊人。
We all enjoy the convenience of electric lights. Convenience is to make things easier for us. They make life safer and easier, as I just said, easier. Also safer, as we'll find out in the next sentence or in the next paragraph, because at night, people don't see very well at night, so we have street lights for people to drive safely or to walk safely at night.
所以在这边的话呢，还要提到说 ，we all enjoy the convenience of electric lights。好 ，electric lights 就是我们电灯嘛。好，当然我们都享受着电灯的这种便利 ，they make life safer and easier。你看到了晚上，如果说这些路灯啊没有都亮起来的话，你不小心可能就撞到别人了，对不对？视线不是很清楚。但是如果有路灯之后，我们大家看得很清楚，行车啦，或者是这种就是走路啦，都会比较安全，而且更加的方便。所以是 make life safer and easier.
However, the glow of bright lights in big cities has affected the health of people and animals around the world. Now, glow is a kind of light, but it's not daylight. It's not that big. At night, if you're up on Yamin-san or Datun-san here in the Taipei area, and you look over, you can see a carpet of lights. That's the glow of the city. You can't really see very many individual lights in all the apartments and houses or from all of the car lights, headlights we call them. All together, it makes, like as I said, a carpet of light. That's a glow.
啊，所以在这里的话，这个 glow 的意思呢，就是指想象这个光啊，就是中心点的话，当然是一个点，是光点嘛。但是它旁边还有那种光晕，所以如果说老师刚刚提到说，如果你跑到那个大屯山、阳明山上面去往下看整个这个都市的话，你会发现到说，哎，我不是在看一个这个灯啊，那个一点一点的那种光点，而它会形成一个像是防护罩一样 ，a carpet， 很像是像地毯那种一整片那个光晕造成的这种一个光照的那种感觉。所以这边讲的这个 the glow of bright lights， 大概就是那种光形成的这种光照的那种感觉。所以变成是说，你就算是晚上的时候，你把灯都关了，外面的光也会影响到你。整句话就说了 ，the glow of bright lights in big cities。好，这种在城市所形成这种灯光，好，这种光晕呢 ，has affected the health of people and animals around the world， 是影响到了全世界，不只是人而已哦，连动物都遭受到了影响。
Okay, we'll take a short break and come back for paragraph 3. Okay, welcome back. Everyone has their own natural cycles of sleeping and waking. This means that some people are more active and alert, more awake at night than in the day. I feel sorry for them because most of human activity is based on activity in the daytime and then sleep in the nighttime. But not everyone has that cycle.
Yeah, 所以再来我们看这一段的第一句话，还告诉你说 Everyone has their own natural cycles， 指的就是他们每个人他都有那种 of sleeping and waking， 睡跟醒都有一个那种循环的机制。Natural cycles 就是这种循环，自然而然的循环。大部分人都是呢，白天的时候比较清醒，然后晚上的时候就休息。当然了，还是有一些人是那种夜猫子，对不对？他们是晚上的时候特别清醒，然后很多的想象力啊，什么都在那个时候都迸发出来。可是白天的时候就是一条虫，然后晚上一条龙这样子。这种都叫做 natural cycles of sleeping and waking。For
many people, darkness is important to signal the body that it is time to relax and go to sleep. This is true for most humans and for most animal species as well. Daytime is our active time, but it doesn't mean you're wrong if you feel active at night and sleepy in the day. That is your personal cycle of sleeping and being awake.Yeah,
所以在这边的话，第二句话告诉你说 ，for many people， 当然不是 all the people， 但不是所有人嘛，很多人呢 ，darkness is important，好，是这种黑暗呢是很重要的 ，to signal the body， 好，去告诉身体说 ，signal the body that it is time to relax and go to sleep， 好，就是在黑暗的环境里头，就是告诉身体说，哎，现在呢是可以休息了，赶快准备好要睡觉了。
When there is too much light in the environment, the body produces less melatonin, which makes sleeping difficult. Now, melatonin, this is not a word that you're going to hear every day. It's a hormone. It's a natural chemical that our body produces that helps us in this wake-sleep cycle.
Yeah, 所以在这个地方的话 when there is too much light in the environment 啊，就是说今天如果说自己的环境里头光太多的时候，你的身体呢 produces less melatonin。 melatonin 就是我们讲的褪黑激素，这是我们身体所产生的一种荷尔蒙，会告诉我们哎，该是睡觉的时候了。然后呢，这个身体会产生比较少的褪黑激素，那接下来就会 which makes sleeping difficult， 这样就会造成我们睡眠上比较困难。
Right, so the more melatonin you have, the easier it is to go to sleep. But if you have too much daytime activity, or if there's too much light at night, there's less melatonin, and so it's harder for you to fall asleep. Being in a bright environment at night can also increase anxiety and stress.The problem is not only that you're going to feel sleepy because you're not getting enough sleep, but that itself will increase your nervousness and the pressure that you feel from daily life.
没错，所以在这边的话就告诉你说 being in a bright environment 在明亮的环境里面 at night 尤其在晚上的时候呢 can also increase anxiety and stress. Anxiety 就是焦虑。老师刚刚提到另外一个很重要的字叫做 nervousness. Nervous 这个词你知道 N-E-R-V-O-U-S 再加上 N-E-S-S nervousness 就变成是紧张，就是 anxiety 焦虑的那种感觉 and stress 当然指的是压力咯。
Okay, well, we've learned a lot so far. There's still more to go after this break. Okay, let's look at our last paragraph for today. We have another day talking about day and night, sleeping cycles, melatonin, and so on. There are many animal species that are affected by our bright lights. I mentioned this only before, but now we're going to see some real-life examples of that.
没错，你记得还在第二段的时候，他说影响到全世界的人跟动物。到了第三段的时候，我们讲到人受到了什么影响。再来，我们这边第四段就要讲动物了。他这句话就告诉你说 ，There are many animal species。好 ，species 这个字比较特别，就是指物种。但这个字特别之处在于，它的单数跟复数是一样的。We say one species。Two species 好，这个地方的话我们特别注意一下。好 There are many animal species 有很多的物种 that are affected by our bright lights 会受到我们这种光害的影响。
Sea turtles and birds use the light of the moon to migrate, but with so much artificial light in the environment, they often get lost and confused. That's a lot, so let's take this section by section. Sea turtles, you should know.I was recently on one of the outer islands of Taiwan. I think it was Liudao. And if I remember correctly, there were signs around, please do not use bright lights at night. Turn off your motorcycle light and stay in the parking area. And there weren't many homes there, so that wasn't a big problem. But even a little bit of human lighting, this artificial light, can confuse sea turtles, which need the signal of light to go through some of their very important life processes, like digging holes in the sand to lay eggs and then go back into the ocean. They do this by the light of the moon, as we see here, to lay eggs, to migrate, to leave Liudao, and then to come back months later. This is all done naturally in animals. They don't have calendars. Oh, look, it's May. It's the amount of light that signals their body to do things, just as light signals our body to produce melatonin. Melatonin, sorry. Now, artificial light is man-made light. The sun, the moon, even the stars can give us light. That's all natural light. But artificial light is what we produce as humans. If you have a lot of that in the environment, many animal species, including birds, that use the moon to, okay, the moon's over there, so we have to fly this way. They don't need to think that. That's natural in their nervous system. But if there's too much artificial light, it confuses birds as well.
所以在这里的话就告诉你问题所在了，对不对？他说 sea turtles， 好 sea turtles 就是指海龟 and birds 和鸟类呢 use the light of the moon to migrate. Migrate 意思就是指迁徙，他们是利用月光这种 natural light， 老师刚刚提到这种自然的这种光线，好去引导他们。比方说，老师刚刚提到说，他正在这个外岛上面，可能是绿岛或是兰屿，他们的话有些地方是禁止说你使用这种可能光啦，或类似像是那种摩托车它那种灯啊等等，都要把它关起来，不然的话，你可能会让某些当地的生物不晓得在要往这个方向走，它可能会看到你的光，以为这是月光，然后它就跟着走，后来就走偏了。在这边他就提到这样的概念，他说 ，But with so much artificial light。Artificial 就是老师刚刚所讲的 man-made， 就是指人造的，而非一般的这种阳光啦，或是月光等等，这种人造的这种光线， 在这个环境里面太多的话呢 ，they often get lost and confused。这个 they 指的是 sea turtles 跟那个 birds， 好，这种海龟啊跟鸟类就很容易怎么样 get lost 迷路，而且觉得 confused， 这样走到底对不对啊？奇怪，好，因为太多光源了，你根本不知道往哪里走。
Okay, that's it for today's lesson, except after a short break, we will review some of the important vocabulary used in today's lesson. Okay, our first item on our vocabulary list is pollution, T-I-O-N, so it must be a noun. And of course, this is the production of any artificial substances or chemicals that will harm our or animals' health.
没错，所以第一个字呢就是污染，它就会影响到我们人或者是鸟类，甚至其他动物的这种健康的这种污染。
The word substance, our second item, refers to actually anything physical. Any physical thing can be called a substance. Even pollution is a kind of substance.
Substance 就是物质的意思。这个物质的话，任何有形的物质，那当然也包括了污染咯。
Number 3, if something is harmful, it's not good for us, it's hurtful, or we could also say it's the opposite of helpful.
所以 harmful 就是有害的，也是 helpful 的相反。你也可以用 hurtful 这个字来表达这样的意思。
Number 4, convenience is the noun, and that's anything that can make us live more easily.
Convenience 就是便利、便利性。如果说今天提到讲说便利商店，我们用 convenience store， 好，今天这样觉得好方便哦，就是这个字 convenience。
Thanks for bringing that up. A lot of students will say convenient store because it should be convenient, the adjective, but it's not. It's one of those times where it's not logical. We use the noun instead of the adjective. It's 7-Eleven, and others are convenience stores.
没错。
All right, number 5, glow. I just talked about that. That's kind of a soft light that comes from a large amount of artificial light from humans.
这第5个字 glow 就是指光，但是这指的不是光发出那个点，而是旁边延伸的这种光晕这样的感觉。
Cycle usually refers to in time, changes in time over time. The day gets warmer and the night gets cooler. That is a natural temperature cycle.
Cycle 就是指循环的意思哦。
Number 7, artificial, man-made.
就是人造的意思。
And number 8, confused. When we get older, we get more confused. It's harder to think logically and deeply about one thing.
就是对什么事情感到困惑、感到混淆了，都可以用 confuse 这个字来表达。
Okay, that's it for day 1. Please join us again tomorrow as we continue this really important topic. Until then,
bye-bye.